Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ace's Media Mayhem, where in this case, we are going back to the 90s to review a live action animated film. Have you ever found yourself lost in a good book? A book where you could escape reality and transport yourself into the book's pages and experience the adventure, the horror, the mystery, the thrill, the romance of the story. Back in 1994, that question was brought to life by 20th Century Fox and Turner Pictures in the film The Pagemaster.
I'm a cartoon.
You are an illustration.
Who are you?
I am the Pagemaster, keeper of the books, and guardian of the written word.
Macaulay Culkin plays the role of Richard Tyler, a young boy whose fear of doing anything that might be dangerous prevents him from really enjoying life. Some things that we do, such as riding a bike or climbing a tree, and even something as simple as having a pet, he doesn't really do because of fear that he might be injured in such a way.
What is a rock?
Dad, 8% of all household accidents involve ladders. Another 3% involve trees. We're looking at an 11% probability here.
While riding his bike home one day, he takes refuge from an incoming storm in a library. While exploring the library and its fantasy section, he slips on the floor and gets knocked unconscious. When he wakes up, he is transported to the unknown world of books, where he meets a wizard known as the Pagemaster. The wizard informs Richard that he must pass 3 tests in order to find his way back home. Will Richard survive the challenges that await him in fantasy, adventure, and horror?
Look, there's the exit!
This film is almost like a gift for book lovers and an eye-opening experience for younger kids who saw this film in theaters and later on. In addition to Macaulay Culkin, we had such wonderful voice talents as Christopher Lloyd as the librarian, as well as the Pagemaster, George Hearn as the sea captain, Captain Ahab, Leonard Nimoy doing the dual role of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Patrick Stewart as the Book of Adventure,
I wrote the book on sailing. In fact, I am the book on sailing.
Whoopi Goldberg as the Book of Fantasy,
I'm fantasy. Oh, I'm fantasy. What is this?
It's a library card.
I'm a book, honey. I can read.
and Frank Welker as the Book of Horror.
I'm afraid
Of what?
of and and
The story came to life based on a 6-page pitch by writer Charles Pogue, written into a full screenplay by David Cassin. The film took around 3.5 years to complete, due in part to the animation process for the animated portions of the film. Unfortunately, despite expectations, the film didn't really perform well in the box office, only grossing $13.7 million, which is attributed to the mostly negative reviews, in addition to the other films that were playing around that time, including The Santa Claus, Miracle on 34th Street, Star Trek Generations, Interview with a Vampire, Junior, and The Lion King. Yeah, that was just poor timing going against Pagemaster with that kind of lineup. This film is one of the first films to combine three methods of filmmaking: live action, traditional animation, and computer animation. One sequence that showcases this blend fluidly is the scene in which Richard is washed away to the realms of stories via a ceiling painting in the library. It is a remarkable sequence that performs the transition from real life to animation more effortlessly than Rockadoodle, and is on par with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The animation, however, is dreary. It doesn't feature a lot of sharp color. This is due in part to trying to capture the feelings of each of the lands that Macaulay Culkin's character goes to. For a movie that's over 20 years old, it holds up well and perhaps should be examined again for the message that it was trying to send to its viewers and its audience during that time. Roger Ebert said it himself in his review of the film that its message seemed to be that books can be almost as much fun as TV cartoons and video games. So far to date, according to Google Books, there are over 120 million published works waiting to be read that take us to places that are unimaginable to our minds, from an enchanted forest to the far reaches of outer space, to the dark mines where dwarves live, to under the sea to frolic with mermaids, and even going up to the clouds where the gods live. So many different stories that our minds can transport us to, and we are able to see the images vividly in our minds. Back to the film. Although the film I felt was good, it does have its low points. Viewers of newer generations of kids may not recognize a good portion of the content that was featured in the film, such as classic books as Moby Dick, Treasure Island, Jack and the Beanstalk, and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In addition, I feel that some of the decisions made for the actors involved may have needed a second look. Although the voice actors were very good, I feel that some of them could have done a little bit better with the characters' development. And Macaulay Culkin, even though he was a very popular child actor at that time, he may or may not have been the best choice to play Richard. Now, of course, this can also be attributed to the character that he played, which I feel is the main cause for how much I connected with him. It didn't really connect very well. I felt that Macaulay's performance throughout the entire film was a little stale, and there just wasn't enough screen time for Christopher Lloyd. I felt that if we had more of Christopher Lloyd's characters in there, maybe if we had do a few more characters that could have popped up throughout the film, I felt that the film would have carried a lot better. I mean, take a look at Christopher Lloyd's resume. I mean, it literally speaks for itself. On a scale of 1 to 5, this film has some wasted potential in its character development and in turn the storytelling. There were a lot of opportunities to take the film to a more current setting during the time that the film was being made. I feel that if we had more current titles at that time period to be featured in the film, perhaps there would have been more connection with the younger generation. And speaking of that, I wouldn't be in disagreement to say that if they remade the film, we definitely have the content to improve upon it. I give this film a modest 3 out of 5.
Happy birthday.
Thank you for once again joining me for another episode of Aces Media Mayhem. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below. If you have any ideas for future reviews or any suggestions on what I should add to this channel, please go ahead and leave a comment or send an email to acesmediamayhem@gmail.com.